Hi guys, it's me, Joseph Anderson again, and for this video that I will be dedicating to the month of Halloween, October in 2025, I shall be talking about a movie that I think, in my opinion, is a good contender for best sequel, and it shows you are higher now because of the new movie that came out this year. But it's a solid contender, but not as good as Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So I'm sorry for that. But right now I'm going to be talking about this movie, 28 Weeks Later. Yeah, because I think that this is a pretty good movie in itself, piggybacking off of the first 28 days later. Now, with weeks, this is a pretty interesting situation as far as the movie goes. Now, before I get into the movie proper, I should say that this is the DVD for 28 Days Later, and this is the CD for 28 Weeks Later. Now, if you can tell, the biohazard symbol is reverse colors, which is okay, I guess. But the thing is that with Weeks Later, it's more of a the symbol is more one to one, and it generally represents more of a time pattern by, which is good because 20 weeks later, like something like 6.5, 7 months later, give or take, since the actual rage virus was released in London. So it's kind of important to show the passage of time. Now, the reason why I say that Weeks is a very special situation in comparison to the first movie is that usually whenever we get a sequel to a movie like this, we usually see what happened to the main characters of the first movie after the events of what happened, whether they die or live off or whatever. In the case of Friday the 13th, the main character that survived in the first movie ends up dying in the second one. And I'm sure there are other franchises where that happens, where I can't really think of them offhand. But that's pretty accurate. But this one is a little different because after the rage virus ravaged London and the surrounding area from the first movie, this one takes a little bit of a different turn because in this one, the rage virus still happened from the events of the first movie, but it's more of a side story. It begins a more of a side story type of thing. Like, you have the main campaign of the rage virus in the first one, but then in this one it takes place in like a countryside villa where the people there think they're safe. And the main two people are played by Robert Carlyle, which plays Don, which I'll get to another point about that name in a minute. But the main character is Don to this. That's such important. And Captain McCormick, which plays Alice. Now, I don't know if when they made this movie and they would come up with the character names and stuff, I don't know, for example, if they based Alice off this Alice from the Resident Evil movie franchise. But it'd be pretty pretty funny if they didn't do it, if it was 100% coincidental. But there was like a different kind of house. So pretty much what happened is that as the rage fires that go on in the main cities of London and in the area around it, you have in the countryside it's pretty peaceful, quiet, and all that good stuff. But then the rage virus is seeping into the surrounding area by animals and zombies, like you see in the first movie. And yes, I will call these rage creatures zombies because there's pretty much there's not enough distinct information to call them anything but zombies. There's no, they take life, they spread like a wildfire and all that. So that's pretty much zombies. Even though they'll come out of the ground. Yes, but not another difference. So they show that this woman Alice is with a bunch of other survivors, two kids and a bunch of others, and Robert and Don is over there, coming back from being chased by a bunch of zombies, whatnot, rage zombies, I should say. So everything sounds par for the course until the zombies start breaching the defenses as they normally do and take over the house until eventually they're breaking down the doors to get into the house. They feast on yummy brains and yummy bodies of the people they're in, the kids and everything else. Not related to Dawn in any way, shape, or form. The one that's in relation is his wife, which is Alice. But then, rather than seeing it and guarding his wife and two kids and the other survivors, John decided to vacate the house at the nearest opportunity. So, here's one thing that these zombie movies really show properly is that when the chips down, people will eat each other, they will abandon each other, they will make everyone else feel sad and sorry and stuff, and they'll get rid of the weak people first. So by Don leaving his loving wife, it shows that he thinks of himself mostly, and that he'll abandon them near his heartbeat for fear of his own safety. And that's what zombie movies are actually kind of about. How noble people will react when under a very stressful situation, like a zombie attack or a virus attack, or even an alien attack for that matter. So anyway, he escapes out the window, where he leaves his wife to die by being consumed by these rage monsters and the everyday people and stuff. So there's that little psychological horror that next door neighbor can be fine one day, and then the next day turn into a horrible zombie or a rage monster in this case. Same with loved ones, same with pets too, I guess. Because in the first one, they were infected by crows eating at a dead rage monster that was very puppy. So anyway, Robert ends up escaping, and in the window you could see his wife there, saying like, "What the fuck? Like, what the hell? Our marriage vows mean nothing to you, I guess. Love means nothing to you. I cook for you, I clean for you, and let's forget getting mauled by a bunch of rage beasts. Well, you get away in your little paddle boat. More boat, I should say. So, it's really quite interesting to see him being away to CT. Well, she's over there at the window, looking longingly at him. I want to come back. I want you to come back for me and stuff. And then one minute she did, the next minute she's getting mauled by people, and the next moment after that she's gone. And we assume that she's gonna be dead for good until later on in the movie, when it cuts to 28 weeks later. We just somewhere around 7 months away, give or take. And the reason why I say that Donna is very important is because we happen to have a president in the White House right now named Donald J. Trump. And I have a very strong inclination to believe that if a rage virus were to take over America, when he would cover it up, like he tried to do with COVID. And number two is that if it were to come into the White House, by one of his security details or one of the staff that works there or whatever, they were to become infected and then spit into the White House and whatnot, you bet your ass that he would abandon everybody over there to save his own ass. Forget about his wife, kids, except for Ivanka. He would save her from himself, more likely. And anybody else would, for example, with Michigan Lips, for example. And we all know who we're talking about here. But rest assured, he would put everyone else in danger just to save his own ass. Possibly even pushing them aside so that zombies or rage monsters would eat them up, so that he could get away from them. I don't know how far we'll get, being that he's so unhealthy and so punchy, but I think I could take it. I'll go for it with this. But in any case, the movie portrayed this guy getting away from his would-be attackers, sacrificing his own wife. Nice guy. So then you could do 20 months later on, where every rage monster has been killed, destroyed, and then people end up going back to London and start repopulating the area where Ground Zero occurred. Now, that doesn't seem like a very wise idea. You should at least finish up with cleanup first. You should get rid of all the possessions of the undead. You should burn all the bodies beforehand, make sure nothing bad happens. Which, of course, it does, because it's a really zombie movie, so of course something bad's gonna happen. We don't know it yet. But they actually have the army or the armed forces. I'm not 100% sure about how the army, navy, and all that stuff goes in Great Britain, for example. But if it's anything like it's over here, the army people or the Marines are doing it. Like they're the first forces on the ground and whatnot. So anyway, they're still mopping up the area. All the undead are destroyed. They probably ran out of food. They probably died out. By that way the rage virus ran its course. Unfortunately, that's how most big plagues die off. they die out from lack of food, like resources, like whatever else biologically. So anyway, the guy Don is reunited with his biological kids, Andy and here, Andy and I think it's Karen, I believe. Maybe it's Tammy. Yeah, Tammy. I wrote down at the face. The Tammy is played by Morgan Poots, which is the famous singer that sings the song Must Be Dreaming and what's the other one? Hide and Seek. Very good singer. And she knows. But in any case, very good. Anyway, the thing about them is that they're all happy to meet the father who been in the mother, and he lies to them and said that she died a noble death. Whereas we all know that he had been here to save his own butt. So, in any case, they're all happy to see them and stuff. And Idris Elba plays General Stone in the movie, along with Jeremy Renner plays Sergeant Doyle, and Harold Perrineau, who plays Sven, and he's known as Link from the Matrix movie. But anyway, they want to help people out. They want to get them into safety. And General Stone, when things go rolling, they want to exterminate the virus again. And what happens is that the girl Alice ends up surviving the attack. And this is a big surprise for Dawn, that loved her dead. And it's a surprise to the audience too. Like, how in the hell can this girl be surviving? If we actually saw her getting mauled by a giant horde of rage monsters. It turns out that there's a medical concept where I know about at first. I heard about it, but I never actually saw any demonstration. She turned out to be resistant to the rage virus. And later on, it turns out that she passed it on to Andy. But she's resistant to it, or immune to it, if you would, to the effects of it. And it turns out that he is a carrier for the virus itself. So that's something I didn't understand as a kid, but now I understand it because of this movie. Basically what it means is that if you're infected by something and you're resistant to it, or you're a carrier of it, it means that you don't have the outright symptoms of whatever you're infected with, but you can still pass it on to other people. Like with malaria or say the flu. So anyway, she's in containment right now because she still has the virus inside of her, but she doesn't exhibit the saliva, the uncontrolled bloodlust, the uncontrolled aggression of something that's fully infected. So she's a valuable commodity for her blood because it could be studied and could potentially become a cure for whatever infection might arise. Think of it like the doctor in I Am Legend, Dr. Neville. And So pretty much he's a very high value person, and the father Don goes to see her, as part because he's her husband, and the kid's like, but you told us that she died. Oopsie. Surprise, surprise, mommy is still alive, very much alive. And she still remembers how he treated her and how he abandoned her and everything. Oopsie. And I also learned this other terminology called hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned. Women will always remember every little thing that a man does to cross her. And boy, this is one of the examples of a definite crossing. Because she remembers being mauled and eaten alive because of the husband. And why the zombies still attack her, I have no idea why, but I also like the way she looks at the husband. I remember what you did to me. I'm gonna get you back for that. And sure enough, afterwards, she ends up looking at him, but when I being normal, and the other but I being like bloodshot, like to signify that she's a carrier, and that she still had the virus inside of her, but it's not really affecting her. So like a complete moron, this guy who was perfectly sane and normal and stuff, end up kissing her. Now this is a big no-no. And at the moment, they realize at the moment when he's about to kiss her, like Prince Charming or something, from Snow White, the scientist, I think it's played by Rose Byrne, who plays Scarlet, realized that she's a carrier, that she still had the virus in the bloodstream and bodily fluids and whatnot. So he ends up kissing him with tongue, I guess, and passes on the blood, her saliva to him, thereby reigniting the whole rage virus plague again in London. This is actually a genius piece of writing because, how do you continue the bloodline, if you will, of the rage virus, where we started it from the beginning in the first movie. So anyway, he changes into a rage monster before our eyes. And I like to think that she knew that she was a carrier for this virus. I like to think that she knew exactly what she was doing, that she wanted to get back at her husband for leaving her in to die, get eaten, and then possibly shot by the military or somebody else. And I like to think that she likes to that she has a smile on her face, like, yeah, you unwillingly called this on your own time. You called it for yourself. You called yourself to turn into a monster like this. I'm getting my revenge on you. Ha ha. Joke on you, boy. This is what you get for abandoning your loved ones to save your own ass. So anyway, right after he turns, which is pretty quick, mind you, a lot faster than the father in the first movie, and he did the whole, coughing of blood, transforming into the creature there. And the first victim he wanted to take out on is her, the girl, the wife, Alice. Now, he mauls her because a jugular, because I also like to think that he's fully intelligent, and he knows what he's doing, he knows where all the soft spots are on the human body. Now, I have to question this too. Why was she able to get mauled on by several zombies at a time and still survive? But yet, when he does it to her, he knows all the weak spots, all the humanly soft tissue areas to eat and attack, and he also gouges out her eyes too to show intelligence. So, how was she able to be killed by this guy? And the first time, she wasn't able to be killed. Granted, she was tied down to a gurney in this one, but still. So anyway, the entire rest of the movie is the London armed forces losing control of them. And this also demonstrates the point that when one guy is saying, everything will be fine, everything will be good, everything will be calm, be nice, everything will be good and everything, just to get turned into a zombie and then have Scarlet blow his head off with a pistol, and you can see all the blood spread on top of the glass window where he's talking to the two kids, Andy and Tammy. So that's pretty cool. So you see this one guy, Donnie, turn everyone he meets into a rage monster. And after he got his revenge on his wife for destroying his own humanity, he ends up turning everyone into like a little mini army of zombies. Unrealistically fast, by the way. And Sergeant Doyle plays a good army sniper that has to take out multiple waves of these zombies and protect the people. And he actually does something good. He leads the shot of the zombie so that, let's say the zombie here running forward, he will actually shoot a little bit in advance of them, and by the time the zombie gets to the point where the shot was taken, it will meet the bullet. And he also tells people to zigzag to prevent from being shot by other snipers. And it's kind of quite cool that happens. So, yeah. He also, when everything is way out of control, the army, General Stone, orders his snipers to shoot even the civilians for risk of them becoming rage monsters, which I think is realistic to what happened if the story did occur. But they show all that, and then they show everything gradually descend into chaos so quickly. So and then they show Doyle end up shooting at the military snipers too, which is really funny. To me, at least, it's funny to see that happen. And would be more funny would be if the snipers were to become undead and then were to become infected with weapons. I guess, in the Halo game. But luckily, it doesn't get that bad. So in one instance, to Andy, I don't know whether this is a way to foreshadow that he's a carrier as well, or that he's immune to the disease too. But when someone gets shot near him, and the person that gets shot is infected, you see the blood splatter all over his body. So I would think that that would be an indication that it would pass on the virus to him. But no, that's not the case. Because, everywhere else but his offices get blood splatter on him. So basically, his cheek and his torso get splashed with blood. Not the mouth, not the eyeball, or anything like that. Something that would definitely turn him into a zombie if it were to occur like that. So, they run away with Doyle, and then they do a wonderful scene in which they go into the London Underground tunnels, like the London equivalent to the Metro, New York Metro. And the thing is that I don't know if it's the same tunnel, for example, as the first movie, but it's pretty cool seeing them all in dark and stuff, all in complete darkness. And then Zombie Don over there, very coincidental if you ask me, end up beating up Doyle, Sergeant Doyle, Jeremy Renner, with his own rifle, with his own Zoom rifle. And it's real cool. It's like the movie Doom when they do the first person mode, but it's at night, in the dark, and they show the sniper scope smashing into Jeremy Renner's face. It's such pretty visceral and pretty cool. But yeah, he dies. But it would be nice to see a zombie Hawkeye, which I would think that this is kind of like an evolution to Hawkeye, being a sniper guy versus being a guy with a compound crossbow or a regular crossbow. So that'd be kind of funny. Or I mean, like a regular traditional bow, I should say. So anyway, they have with this thing. And then they show them in the field trying to get out of a helicopter flown by Flynn Link from Matrix. So I think that Sergeant Doyle dies afterwards. But anyway, it all leads to the scene where they reach the final goal. Kind of reminds me of Sonic Adventure with Amy Rose, grabbing the balloon and flying to safety. But in any case, Don actually takes down Andy and bites him in the neck, only to then be shot by Tammy, his own daughter, possibly for revenge on the mother. And they also have this cool scene in which the Army orders the Air Force to firebomb the entire city with any infected, because previously they believed that they had like 1 month. It's been like 5 or 6 months since the last undead with the blood infected was killed. So they just figured forgo and just wipe everything clean and firebomb the whole area So he showed the firebombing from jets going throughout the entire area. And so cool seeing everything in good luck form being cast in fire and brimstone. So anyway, they showed everything, and they showed Tammy shooting the father in the head, shooting him, which is really cathartic for her. And they showed him, of course, dying, and they showed that, that Andy is still, alive somehow, even though he went to run away from her, because he doesn't know that he's immune to the virus. He thinks that he can turn into a bad creature and kill Tammy, which would be a shame. But anyway, he survives. Got the eyeball, the red eye, I should say. And they escape together. And they meet with Flynn, and where he asks her, where's the doll? And she said, it was killed. Even though, it was kind of weird that when Donnie killed him, he killed him with, he killed him as a man would, a gun, and as a man would, he by the Marines and out, like with the wife back in the laboratory. Which, by the way, for some reason, they showed that the Killways are being destroyed along with the firebombing, along with her corpse. They showed that there's no possible way for this thing to be destroyed now. Except for the kid Andy, which the carrier status was genetically passed on to him. I know that's also passed on to Tammy, but that's still pretty cool concept. And I hope they bring it into the next movie 28 years later. So anyway, it show kid and the woman and Tammy, both two kids, being rescued by Link and being flown away off the island, off the main island of Great Britain to Ireland or something. And I like the way it showed that in the manic trying to escape, they show up in the field trying to get away with Doyle and with some other guys by a helicopter, the same way that they were that they'd been location from being moved by zombies. And they killed this guy Garfield. This guy, the other guy, was impatient, and he grabbed onto the helicopter. The skids on the helicopter, making it go all balanced. So when the zombies in the field heard this, they said, "Yummy, buffet." So they went over to the helicopter silence. And it's really kind of cool because it had the guy put the nose to the helicopter down, and it encouraged forward, thereby chopping up all the zombie guys. It's real cool. Real cool, visceral and wet from the standpoint of the zombies. So it's real kind of cool the way they did. I believe they were copying from the mission reuniting the families in the game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where something occurs with cops and a helicopter. And anyway, they show that. Then they show the tunnels leading to the and they get thrown out. Like the reverse of Jurassic Park opening. And it's really kind of cool because at the end they cut back to 28 days after this initial this reintroduction to London, and they show a horde of zombies going to, of all places, Paris, in chicken game mode. So basically, if I don't see any rage virus infected, we're breathed and smoking cigarettes and watching Jerry Lewis, I'd be really disappointed if I don't see that. So anyway, now that the virus spread to other places in Europe, Paris, Hong Kong, even Antarctica, I want to see all those places. Africa, I want to see Africa, most of Europe, and parts of Asia being eaten alive by rage zombies. Because now the containment is no longer in the island nation of the United Kingdom. Once carnage on the worldwide scale, and possibly even in the Americas too. So anyway, it was fun to see this movie, seeing containment be broken again, seeing a whole reintroduction of this foreign virus, and just having fun seeing zombies getting eaten alive, and then people getting eaten alive and turned into rage monsters. That's really cool. I want to see a giant United Zombie flag on the monuments of each of the main capital of the world, like Paris, Rome. Could you imagine a zombie poop? That would be shit right there. Or the Dalai Lama as a zombie. That'd be awesome. Or say I don't know, zombie Emmanuel Macron. That'd be something nice too. Or say or zombie Putin, for example. That'd be really funny. Because as safe as you are with the zombie apocalypse, they're always gonna find a way into the tiny tracks insecurity, and they're always gonna find a way to you, whether it be during brute force or with brute force or or personal ties like family and friends and whatnot, or your own sensibility as a human being, letting people in to the safe zone. I keep telling my dad, if you or my aunt or any of my family members or friends become zombies or start to turn, I will not hesitate and do what needs to be done. As much as I love you guys, that's it. And if you turn, you're going down. I want you guys to comment if you would do the same thing, or if you already if you would like to see any zombie type things in other countries. What would you like to see? So anyway, I love movies. I love seeing the idea about what happens when people are under extreme duress during an apocalypse like this. I enjoy seeing what would happen under different situations. So, I also find it very coincidental that this guy Don finds his wife, then finds the kids. So Jeremy Renner, which is a trained special operative soldier, by the way. You know, for all I know, he's a regular. You know, Don's just a regular guy with regular strength and training and stuff like that. Just very aggressive. And I also love the fact that after he starts the zombie apocalypse 2.0, you do like random screenshots of people running away from the zombies and getting attacked and whatnot from the zombies. And then there's one frame of film in which he's like, haha, I'm a weirdo. It's all because of me. Ha. You know, he smiles wide and all that. It's real quite adorable. Seeing a man proud of his accomplishments for eating up the entire, for setting off the chain of events. Although I do feel sorry for Alice, you know, being number one, abandoned by her husband, then attacked by him, and then killed by him. In a very gruesome and painful way, I'm sure. Even though she was crying for help, and nobody would help her out. Now, I have a question. How was he able to escape that room, you know, where she was being contained? It looked pretty solid to me. He could get out by the ventilation ducts or something. But that was really cool. You know, everything will be okay, and then you get turned into a zombie. That's really kind of funny. But I thank you for watching my little review of 20 weeks later. A very good follow-up to 20 days later, and a very solid contender for one of the best sequels ever made, especially in a trilogy. I can't wait to see the other one, that 20 years later, when the French zombies aimed to get. Also, I like the idea of containment being breached, and I like the idea of they skipped over 20 months later to see 20 years later, which I think is about the same amount of time from the release of this movie to now. I think it's somewhere around there. That should be pretty interesting. And as you can expect, I did this for my month of Halloween, and for October in 2025. And I definitely give this movie a definite happy face, zero approval, because this movie is bad. I like the fact that Alice got her revenge on her husband for abandoning her. So it's kind of like a reverse of the whole Lost Girls trope of horror movies, and that she ends up getting revenge on the guy that abandoned him and made her into a Lost Girl type thing. And hopefully Andy will provide a cure for the survivor. I hope the character of Andy is ready for army of medical tests and blood tests with my favorite needles, medical grade needles. Anyway, if you like what you see here and want to see more of my videos, you can always like, comment, share, and subscribe. subscribe to my channel. You can also contact me for future information on my videos by calling me or texting me at 631-707-3707. Or if you want, you can follow me on Twitter or X if you prefer, call it that, at P. Nelson Pro. Also, my email is jjsviewingchannel@gmail.com. And I salute all you guys who liked this movie as well as the first movie 20 days later. 20. That was a good thing. So, anyone who like horror movies, anyone who like jolly old England would love this movie. So peace out, my brothers and sisters. And I'll see all you girls and guys in Ancient Land on my next video. Peace out. Sayonara. Bye bye.